Hello, this is Kristen Rasmussen, a dietitian with Health Matters at UC Berkeley, and today we're going to be talking about and shopping for whole grains. This is a whole grain. Whole grains contain all components of the grain, including the bran, germ, and endosperm, whereas refined grains contain only the endosperm. Because whole grains retain the bran and the germ, they are much higher in many vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber than refined grains. Replacing a diet high in refined grains with whole grains can help lower the risk of many chronic diseases. So let's find out more. Our first stop today is the Berkeley Bowl, which we're very fortunate to have in the East Bay because they have a wide variety of whole grain options. Many of these options are available in bulk, which is very helpful because it's usually a lot less expensive and can be a much more sustainable way to purchase. To purchase in bulk, you just have to scoop out however much you like, place it into the bag, and at some places, such as Berkeley Bowl, you don't have to write down the number. You simply twist it and bring it to the weigh station. Now we're going to point out a few of the grains you might find in the grocery store. Some of the more familiar whole grains include brown rice, couscous, and whole grain pasta, with brown rice being the easiest to find. There are even options for different types of brown rice. There's long grain brown rice, and short grain brown rice, and even others. When you're purchasing couscous, you have to make sure that it's whole wheat couscous. Otherwise, it's not a whole grain. And there's also even whole grain pasta. There's also some whole grains that you might be a little less familiar with, such as quinoa. Quinoa is considered a complete protein because it contains all 9 essential amino acids. There's also bulgur, which is a very handy whole grain because it's partially cooked and then dried, so when you cook it, it cooks very fast. Another fun and unique whole grain you might like to try is amaranth. So Trader Joe's and many other stores, although they might not have whole grains in bulk, they do sell them in boxes and bags. You can see we have whole wheat couscous, like we did before. There's quinoa, and brown rice, and whole wheat pastas. For basic instructions on how to cook many of these whole grains and others, just visit Cookwell Berkeley and see our Great Grains basic cooking instructions. Bread is an easy way to get more whole grains in your diet, but shopping for whole grain bread can sometimes be confusing, because you're presented with many different labels and options, and all are trying to tell you they're whole grain. The first thing you want to look for is that the label says 100% whole wheat or 100% whole grain bread. Next, you want to check the ingredient list and make sure that the first ingredient is either whole wheat flour, whole grain wheat flour, or another type of whole grain. If it just says wheat flour or enriched wheat flour, then your bread likely isn't whole grain bread. Whole grains are not only healthy, but they're also delicious, and we hope you put them on your next grocery list.